My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
I've just wandered up to the corporate suites up above the pit lane here at Phillip Island. No, I haven't been called to race control. This is the Morris Finance Drivers Lounge, mainly for the drivers in the Pace Australian Formula 4 Championship. There is coffee here. Lots of the engineers gather with the drivers for debriefs. A couple of others have snuck in too. I don't know if you can see over the back there, Tony D'Alberto and Carl Reindler. Top of the coffee queue. What a shock, what a surprise that is. Over here, some of the youngsters in the championship, some of the stars, including young Cameron Shields. Hey, I'll dive in here, guys. Has there been a bit of chat about who's quickest on the simulator? What are you all up to?
Yeah, we've all had a bit of fun on the simulator. So Josh is on there at the moment. We'll have to see if he has a crash, but yeah, we've all had some fun so far.
Good on you. And they've got the simulator too. So in between all the track activity here at the island, this is a nice place for the drivers to come and relax, to come and escape, but you can never really escape racing, can you?
Sean Henchwood has jumped right alongside me here in the comm booth for this one. 50 minutes of radicals, Sean, and those Nielsen boys, father and son, they're doing okay, aren't they?
Mitch, in fact, when he pitted yesterday at the midpoint of the race, was leading and also quickest man on circuit. So it didn't take him too long to get up to speed, beaming from ear to ear on the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. He said, how good is this place? How good has it been this weekend? But here is the starting lineup for the second race. Kim Burke, the championship points leader, runaway championship points leader, on pole position alongside Chris Perini, the only man that can really challenge him now in the championship. Rowan Ross and Yasser Shahin on row 2. Peter Clare, Brad Nelson, Sue Hughes, I think her son, John Collins, will start that car, and Nathan Kumar rear of field. But here they are on screen. The multicoloured car outside of screen, 68 entry, that is Kim Burke. He is very, very comfortably clear in this championship. In fact, 65 points up. That is light years. He did point out that no one else has been that far in advance in past years. Alongside him, Chris Perini, the young star who impressed from his opening event at Bathurst, has come from 2 wheels to 4, been very, very impressive. Rowan Ross, and it is James Winslow, a real sensation in one of these cars on the second row. Keep an eye on the 66 entry as they storm down this long front straight of Phillip Island. 3 wide already, and the man going through the middle is James Winslow. That is him taking the lead. The all-yellow helmet, of course, Le Mans LMP2 experience, a very serious campaign, a driver trainer too for the likes of Yasser Shahin, who he's sharing the drive with, and so too Kim Burke. So very instrumental and very involved in this Radical Australia Cup Championship.
Certainly James Winslow needs no introduction. Chris Perini right behind him. Well, at the start of this year needed an introduction, but he introduced himself very, very successfully at the start of this year, and well, rookie status is on his shoulders, but so is championship status. Down the inside looks Burke in the 68, but Perini sweeps right round the outside. It's a long way to travel, but just gently eases the door closed on championship leader Kim Burke.
It's going to be very interesting too. We're talking about tyres just earlier with Greg Russ down on the grid. Tyre temperature can take as many as 7 or 8 laps. Now, what's ambient temperature at the moment? About 13 degrees. I'll tell you an interesting story about yesterday's experience on tyre temperature with James Winslow. We'll get to that a little bit later, but he's been very quick. You can see the star performers, drivers with experience. There's 3 of them in this field: John Collins, Nathan Kumar, and of course James Winslow, multiple Formula 3 champion. They know how to make tyres work when the temperatures are cold. They will race away. That's exactly what Winslow's done already. You can see him. He's coming through the final corner now. The rest are just coming out of MG. They know how to make that work, but tyre temperature will be something that'll play into this race over the opening laps until certainly the drivers with lesser experience in the field, we call them gentlemen drivers in the past, amateurs, bronze FIA rated drivers is another way to term them. They will be a little bit more cautious about pushing the car too hard on cold tyres. That allows more of the experienced drivers to pull out that greater advantage, which is exactly what's happened. 3.3 seconds now James Winslow leads this field.
It's something you talk about right throughout motorsport. We talk about it in supercars with Craig Lowndes gets out on cold tyres, or the 3 Red Bull drivers all jump out on cold tyres and go away so nicely with it, and that's because they get so much information fed to them that they control it. Here's how the start took place again. Watch that green multicoloured extravaganza up against the pit wall on the second row there. That's James Winslow, Kim Burke and Chris Perini. Perini off the left-hand side in the black and red car. For those Bomber fans, sorry about last night, but that's the colours, that's the livery he's got on board. And around through turn 1 he goes.
Keep an eye on Rowan Ross too. He's dropped back now to position 5. John Collins in the green and white car he shares with his mum, Sue Hughes. They finished second yesterday by virtue of that unfortunate penalty for Nathan Kumar.
It's down to pit lane.
Yeah, Sean, we heard before from a son in a father-son combination. Let's hear now from a mother as part of a mother-son combination. Sue Hughes driving with John Collins. We don't see that often in motorsport.
No, you don't actually. In 2013, we actually did a round, and we are actually the first national mother and son combination. So it's fantastic.
He's doing a good job out there in your car. How dare you let him get and run a start in your car?
I know. That's what mums do. But no, he's great. He won the 2015 Australian Formula 3 Championship. So he knows how to drive. He's giving me tips, so it's all good.
Hughes and Collins sounds like some sort of English garage race team, doesn't it?
Or 80s rock band.
Yeah, it could be either that, that's right.
But she's a great competitor. In fact, it was interesting. She said, we haven't raced together since 2013. She just explained that to Cameron. But she said, by getting John in the car, they moved the seat. She said, it transformed the car. I can't believe it. Instead of sitting on the car, I'm now sitting in the car. I feel a whole heap more competitive and more comfortable, and that obviously helps the outright speed. 8 seconds the lead now for James Winslow at the front of this field. Pace is dropping off a little bit, 1:32.0. I've got an apology to make from yesterday. We were talking about the benchmark for the lap record for an SR3 around this circuit being a 1:31.00 for Peter Patten. It's not. It was the man who won that race, the only race that Patten didn't finish last year. Out of 12, he won 11. He had a DNF here. Michael Shaw went on to win that one. Michael Shaw is the fastest ever man. Michael, if you're out there listening, my apologies. I'm glad you didn't hear me wax on yesterday about how good Peter Patten was, but well done to you. It's 1:30.5, so that's the benchmark. Yesterday, if you looked at James Winslow's opening time after he took over from Yasser Shahin and stormed out of pit lane, how far back was it? 20-odd seconds. Worked his way back forward in the field. They ended up winning the race, but his second lap was a 1:31.2.
Yeah,
it was a 1:31.2.
Yeah.
And he said, you won't believe this, Sean. He said the tyres got colder, not warmer, because they made some changes, dropped the pressures again, and that's the big key. Obviously, it's tyre pressure, getting the tyre up to temperature versus how much you're going to wear the tyre out over a 50-minute race.
We've got more from the lane with Greg Rust.
We'll endeavour, Darren, to catch up with him a little later in the broadcast, but I know, having spoken with Sean yesterday, this is a super impressive performance. And let's not forget, it wasn't, all that long ago that he had that massive injury and accident, James Winslow, at Yas Marina. He's more or less defied the doctors in terms of recovery time, and he's got a great motor racing CV from Formula 3 in this country, racing in the United States and at places like Le Mans. This is really good for him as he kind of gets his career back on track, boys, isn't it?
So this is the battle, I guess, behind James Winslow, who's now 10.5 seconds up the road. He has to do that, Chris, because of the compulsory pit stop that he has to do.
Well, this is the battle for the championship. Forget James Winslow and Yasser Shahin. Great to have them in the field. Brilliant to have James fit and back. They're not in this championship hunt. The championship hunt is really between the 81 car and the 68 car. Now, the interesting thing here is Kim Burke has to get a move on. He loses 15 seconds due to his success so far in this championship. There's compensation times during the compulsory pit stop. He's stationary for 80 seconds. The man in front of him, who's the only man left now really in this championship, 65 points back, Chris Perini, stops 15 seconds less. This is going to give him a huge advantage. The thing he needs to make up is something like 45 seconds. 45 seconds during the pit stop on Kim Burke. That's why he's charging off into the distance. It's just set a 1:31.9, which is the benchmark for this race, and really pushing that 66 entry. The SR3 RS of Chris Medlin. Chris not here this weekend. There's a couple of drivers who had double duty this weekend were unable to be here, and that's had a bit of an impact on the field, but it hasn't made it any less competitive. Mitch Nielsen on screen, not too far away from jumping in behind the wheel of the 38 car, taking over from Father Brad. So we've got a father-son combination in Brad and Mitch Nielsen. We've got a mother-son combination, of course, with Sue Hughes and John Collins. 13.5 seconds the lead, James Winslow, still punching out quick laps. Interesting to see where is he on the circuit. He's just coming through the final corner. As over the top of Lukey comes Chris Perini with Kim Burke and John Collins in close contact. Now, Rowan Ross, where's he? Yesterday, he had a brilliant start. We were talking about him earlier. He said, I just got physically tired towards the end. He said, I could punch out the laps early, then I lost the plot a bit in the middle and started to recover towards the end. And he did a great job, of course, the reigning New South Wales Supersport Class 1 champion.
So Chris Perini just in the back of shot there, lost the back of this battle between Kim Burke and John Collins, and he's actually disappeared about another 10 seconds back down the road. He's gone backwards. He's gone back up to pace, but coming out of MG, just bobbled and nearly stopped off the driver's right.
We just saw the engine seemingly drop power coming out of MG, through MG rather, so that will have set him back a little bit. Just needs to get his head in the game. He got a little bit flustered at Bathurst after a brilliant opening round. He was all over race leader Peter Padden and made Kim Burke's life a real difficulty at Mount Panorama on his debut in the Radical. In the second race, he had an opportunity to get past Kim Burke, who held him up. The car wasn't quite to Perini's liking, of course, prepared by Garth Walden Racing. And he pushed himself too hard and had a big lose on top of the mountain, stuck the nose of the car into the barriers across Skyline. And that was game over, unfortunately, for him, but he felt that that's because he'd pushed himself too hard. Chris Perini can charge on. It'll be interesting to see where everybody ends up. Looks like Nathan Kumar now coming down pit lane. He started last. He's now in position number 4. He's got a bit more pace left in him. I think he's been a great addition to this field. Hasn't been racing all that long, 28 years of age. Been racing 3 years, done a bit of F3, obviously. You've seen a bit of him over recent years. And, of course, is up in Asia racing in the LMP3 series. Time to wave to the camera. Thanks, Nathan. Good to see you.
Focus, Nathan.
Doing a good job, son. Just press on.
Oh,
that is Rowan Ross off hard. Now, where is that? That down at Southern Loop? That is quite a big off. He's come wide. See that tall frame of Rowan Ross moving around in the car. He'll be unstrapping himself and likely step out. That's an unusual one. Now, where was he on track? Maybe pushing on. He hadn't made his stop. He was in position number 3, veteran of the series. And you can see he's gone into the tyre barriers. They've done their job. These Radicals are a mighty little car, very strong. And that has brought out, I should imagine, safety cars, certainly yellow flags down in that part of the circuit. Oh, off on the grass, gone in wide, across the gravel, been a bit of rain, so may not have retarded too much. It's done its job, certainly. Tyre barrier's done its job, and not great for Rowan Ross. That's a reasonable hit. It's game on. We've had a restart, and John Collins leads this field around. Now, interestingly, he and Yasser Shahin are shown as 18 laps down. The rest of the field, 17 laps down. Of course, Rowan Ross now having retired. That was the reason for the safety car. John Collins will be in for his compulsory stop. He'll lose that advantage. That puts Yasser Shahin right back in the box seat.
Yasser Shahin currently at the very back of this pack as he joined on after his pit stop. So there he is there, the number 66 in the middle of the back of the shot there behind Rowan Burke. Behind Kim Burke, and then Chris Perini pushing on there as well. The black and red cart coming around through Southern Loop. So John Collins will have to dive basically to the pits this time round to hand over to Sue Hughes, his mum, and she'll be well placed to try and push hard towards the end of this race, but it's going to be very difficult for her to be able to get back on. They are showing that they are on. Ultimately, 2 of them on the lead lap, which is Collins and Shahin, but Collins will be in.
I reckon that's only 20 seconds left till the pit stop window closes, but looks like John Collins is going to get to the line in time. That did actually cost at the Bend Motorsport Park, if you remember. It cost James Winslow a potential victory because they got caught by the safety car. He couldn't come in, race declared short. Because he hadn't made his compulsory stop, they were eliminated from that race. He's in and down pit lane. The pit window has just closed, I should imagine. There you go. So now Chris Perini leads this field on track, immediately behind Nathan Kumar. Now that is for a position on the podium.
Down to cabin pit lane.
John Collins in the lane. He actually asked the team if he could go for one more lap, and I can tell you they could just about hear him, or he could just about hear them from the lane as they screamed to him, box, box, box. So John Collins is now in just in time.
Yeah, just in time, maybe not, may have just missed that. In fact, the 15 minutes did tick over before the timing screen lit up. That will ultimately be the judge of fact on that, but we will wait and see how that transpires. But it's been a great drive for John to get out in front there as the race continues on track. And this is actually a live and championship type stuff for Kim Burke. Yasser Shahin not quite so much weighing in on that championship status, but behind him is the Nielsen car, which is definitely doing that championship this year.
Well, Yasser doesn't need to get to the front of this field. He's at the front of this field. He may not be physically so far as what we can see visually in that pack. He is leading this race by effectively a lap, but he's a racer. He wants to get through. Kim Burke's a racer too. He may not know exactly what's going on. He might think he's defending for position. He's also in the championship hunt. The one he's watching is the guy further ahead of him, Chris Perini, and he wants to keep him within sight.
Cameron's in the pit lane as well.
I've got John Collins given the all clear on that pit stop, mate. I heard you were talking to the team about trying to go for one more lap. Is that true?
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit of a confusing situation as to whereabouts we were time-wise. So, yeah, I couldn't quite hear the radio call if it was to pit that lap or go one more. So I thought it better to play it safe than sorry. So, yeah, we came in that lap.
Here is James Winslow keeping a close eye on things, talking Yasser Shahin through everything. And this will be valuable too for Yasser Shahin for the 101 race a little bit later in the day. So interesting too to see what went on there. I wonder whether or not Mitch Nielsen was just trying to avoid the rear of Peter Clare's car just coming through that stage. He's still in this battle with Yasser Shahin, and it's very racy. He may not know, in fact, that Yasser Shahin is that lap up on him, so that's not quite for position, but certainly these guys are all racers. Even Sue Hughes said it to me yesterday. Once she gets in the car, there's this thing called red mist, which we all know about, and it tends to come down and logic goes out the window. She just wants to race, and she just wants to go out there and race hard.
No quite feeling in the world like that, red mist coming down and getting out there, or as footballers call it, white line fever, step over it and get out amongst the game. Certainly you wait, there's more time waiting than there is actually racing, so when you get out there you need to be well aware of your surroundings. Just getting a bit of a feeling that the checkered flag is being readied down there, so we may not be going the full distance in this race. There is still 9 laps remaining. You don't normally see the officials getting the flag in their hand quite like they are right now, but we'll see as that transpires what happens. But it is Yasser Shahin leading over Nathan Kumar again in P2 late in the race. Chris Perini, well, this is the last lap, we're being told, so this will go the way of Yasser Shahin, and we'll pick up where Yasser is around the track. Here he is coming down the straight now, and checkered flag has gone to Yasser Shahin in car number 66, so he will take the 23-lap race. Checkered flag has been displayed.
Yasser Shahin takes the win from Nathan Kumar. Chris Perini, Kim Burke, Peter Clegg, Mitch Nielsen and Brad Nielsen, John Collins and Sue Hughes, and Rowan Ross unfortunately had that DNF.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a fantastic race. We planned strategy-wise to be very quick at the beginning of the race. It's obviously a cold day at Phillip Island. Very rare for it not to be raining, but it's dry, so the air's very cold, so the tyres and the brakes were very hard to get hot. So we blanked everything off. We ran massive high tyre pressures to try and give me a massive advantage for the first 5 laps. Tried to make hay where the sun was not shining, and it worked perfectly.
So now we look ahead to the next round of the Shannon's Nationals, and we head to Queensland for that. We're at the halfway mark of the series, and things really starting to get interesting. A huge thanks to all of our volunteers and everyone from the Confederation of Australian Motorsport. On behalf of all of our great partners, in particular to Shannon's Insurance, that takes things out at Phillip Island. We'll catch you at the next round. Bye for now.
Coming up after the break, we head over to the UK and to the Thruxton circuit for rounds 7 to 9 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship.